And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down.
I'm sorry, what?
And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down.
I'm sorry, what?
And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down.
Oh, that's what I thought you said. Are you insane? But that wasn't the worst of it. Here we go.
So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap. And I've loved kids jumping on my lap.
No, you heard that correctly.
And I've loved kids jumping on my lap.
Yeah, 2020 is going to be a lot of fun. This is from Esquire. Joe Biden talking about his kids touching his hairy legs in a swimming pool is not great viewing. By Jack Holmes. This was from yesterday. Now, I was going to do a video about him biting the finger of his wife, which is, quite possibly more for the bedroom, if you will, not necessarily for outdoor consumption. But Joe No Malarkey Bus is out there doing it again. In the last 2 days alone, the Democratic presidential field has lost 2 candidates. 3, if you can consider Kamala Harris. To be fair, not too many people were aware that Montana Governor Steve Bullock and former Congressman Joe Sestak were running, and Kamala Harris. But they were, and now they're not. Luckily, there are still about 46 contestants left. Some are still joining up. Surely, the Democratic Party will find a nominee who will not F this up, right? Hello? Is this thing on? As you can tell, this is an opinion piece by Esquire. I ask not because Sestak and Bullock were no longer running, but because Joe Biden still is. And Joe Biden had himself one hell of a weekend. We at Esquire have not historically hesitated to point out when the incumbent president shows signs that he's not exactly firing on all cylinders, and so should probably do the same when the former vice president does something similar and he wants to be the next president. Of course, Bloomberg and his media conglomerate won't mention this, but he'll mention, at least give Esquire some credit, I guess. Granted, Biden has none of the would-be opponent's primal viciousness or mendacity, but there's still reason for concern. Most folks are fixated at this fine Monday and his playful bite of his wife, Dr. Jill Biden's finger, at a campaign event in Council Bluffs, Iowa. That's where he kicked off his No Malarkey tour this weekend. And if you don't know what malarkey is, you're going to have to find a time machine to go back to 1920. No malarkey here, see? The name appears to be a reference to the moment in the 2012 vice presidential debate in which Biden clowned on Paul Ryan repeatedly. The photo looks incredibly weird, though the video is slightly less so, I guess. This might get the gears turning over Biden's former habit of sniffing people's hair, and otherwise engaging in uncomfortable physical contact, closely relating to assault, if you will. Then he's with his wife here, not a relative stranger. Mandatory reminder that the current president has been accused of sexual misconduct by around 24 women. And of course, so did they accuse Brett Kavanaugh. Again, accused and being convicted are two different things. This is generally something that you hand wave away if your 74-7-year-old grandpa did it. Except this grandpa wants to be president of the United States. It also seems like a secondary concern when compared to another video featuring Joe Biden that surfaced this weekend. It's true. What the hell is this man talking about? This footage appears to be the same 2017 event in which Biden recounted a poolside confrontation with a gang leader named Corn Pop. He remembered calling Corn Pop Esther and telling him to get off the diving board. Then they got in a near violent altercation in the parking lot. What? Is this real? And if so, why would you bring it up next to an unrelated story about Biden's time as a public defender? You wouldn't, unless you don't know what the hell you're talking about. If that was a poorly crafted parable about race relations, it's even harder to see the point of the story about kids touching his hairy legs in the pool. My God. Again, this has nothing to do with Biden's speech issues documented recently in The Atlantic piece by former Esquire editor John Hendrickson. Why is a former vice president telling his story? Does he realize it's making people like the young girl he puts an arm around at one point uncomfortable and confused? The last time I asked whether it's ageist to wonder how old you can be and still handle the rigors of running for and serving as president when some people get very mad. The thing is about ageism is that can a 77-year-old be quarterback for the New England Patriots? No, because he'd get killed. No one's going to hire a 77-year-old to be a quarterback. Let alone, why should we hire a 77 doddering old fool as a presidential candidate to become president? You wouldn't. But look at what the Democrats have in their pool of candidates. It ain't good. This is probably their best shot. And if this is their best shot, they've got nothing left in the magazine. That was when Biden was struggling to place various events within space and time and seemed confused about his own involvement in those events. Since then, he's also had a weird time at multiple debates, including the most recent one. Remember when he talked about he was going to punch his way out of domestic violence? Yeah, not a good turn of phrase there. Democracy inevitably involves the public putting up with the whims and delusions of politicians who wish to represent them, not least the semi-delusional conclusion that you and you alone are the person to lead a putative free world. But at some point we've got to ask what's fair to the younger generations in this country, millions of people whose lives are in the balance in 2020. It is they who will bear the brunt of it if our republic falters and we continue to do nothing about extreme inequality, blah, 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 blah. Anyways, many of the people currently running to lead this country will not live to see the worst of all of this. It's not that bad, John. Many of them who never really used a computer. And it is they who have overseen the development of a political economy that's proven so dysfunctional the American public living under it saw fit to make Donald Trump the president. Because Hillary Clinton was crap. If you would admit that, John, if that's your real name, I'm sorry, Jack, whatever. I was thinking John Holmes, apparently. Not because of... Anyways, it is not a form of bigotry to suggest that time moves on and the same generation cannot govern the country forever. That's particularly true when a member of the generation is clearly showing signs that he is not the same man who he pirouetted around Paul Ryan in that debate 7 years ago. There's no doubt that Joe Biden genuinely believes he's the best person to take on Donald Trump and run the country. It's up to the public, and particularly those younger generations, to show up to vote and put the proposition to the test. Right now, Biden still leads in many polls, and his support in the black community, which is the backbone of the Democratic coalition, has been durable. Kinda. Time comes for us all. However, someday it will be Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez turn to step back from public life and hang out with their grandkids. I hope she don't breed, but whatever. Assuming we make it that far. Whew. Wow. Again, this just goes to show that Joe should just, I don't know, sail off into retirement here, man. I mean, yeah, you get when President Donald Trump, when he does some of his gaffes, we get it. But he seems more on the ball than this guy. So what is going on here? Democrats, you know what? Yeah, put this guy. Donald Trump will eat this guy's lunch, spit him out, and then walk all over the remnants. Democrats, you've got no choice. You've got to put this guy in. Because if you thought Cory Booker or Kamala Harris or any of these nincompoops out there really want to take on Donald Trump, be my guest. But you know what? Stranger things have happened. Donald Trump beat Hillary Clinton in 2016. Who knows what 2020 has in store for us? Laszlo out.